with a rapper that's redacted. It says, I don't think I can read anymore. I'm about to cry. Whoa. Welcome back to my channel. I am your favorite mother of three, Bougie Vintage, and today's video is a B with the T. Let's get into this. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about all these other things because I want to get into the 73-page document. Let's breeze through the first part of this video and then talk about this Diddy lawsuit. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mayor Eric Mays, but he's from the city of Flint. And he's a very outspoken mayor and very much for the people, you know, councilman mayor. He is very popular online. Videos of him are shared all the time. And I remember the first time I saw a video of him, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this man. A lot of his content is memeable, and, you know, I think he really had his foot on the people's neck. Not the people as in the people in the community, but the government officials. He really had his foot on their neck. And so a few days ago, they announced that he passed. And immediately I was like, pump the brakes. What you mean he did? Like, this is a 65-year-old man. He's in seemingly healthy condition, you know, like I don't understand why he did. And so of course, you know, my brain is going to conspiracy always. So I'm like, was it ruled a homicide or natural causes? And of course it's natural causes, but I hope that they do the thorough investigation and, you know, get to the bottom of this, because I'm just like, how is this man dead? Like, I know people die every day, but like this just seemed super sketchy to me. And so I have my concerns and I want them to investigate. They need a private investigator, not the city to investigate, okay? But apparently it was like due to like complications of like a past illness or something of that nature. And I was just like, really? At 65? I don't know about that, but it is what it is, whatever they say, okay? So, you know, rest in peace to him, and, you know, my condolences go out to his family. And I know you guys are probably wanting me to discuss the Wendy Williams documentary. I've not yet watched it. I know parts 1 and 2 aired. I don't know if it's just 2 parts or if it's 3 parts, whatever it is. I haven't seen it yet, child, but I've seen some clips online. So obviously I have already started to, you know, gather my thoughts about it, but I do want to sit and watch it because her movie on Lifetime was really good. So I do want to see the documentary. What's happening with her is super sad, but like, I don't think people realize Wendy's impact on pop culture. You know, a lot of people don't like Wendy, but she was doing her job, okay? Even if she did it in the nasty way, sometimes she was doing her job. And she really paved the way for a lot of content creators, especially on the YouTube platform, because if she didn't have her talk show, a lot of the girlies on YouTube doing this very content that I'm filming today, this tea content, celebrity gossip, you know, if she didn't do what she did, a lot of girls wouldn't be sitting in front of us. And so like, she paved the way for a lot of people to have jobs to do this type of content and make money off of it and do it really well. And really nobody was doing it like her, as shady as she was. And so she deserves all of those flowers. But obviously a lot of celebrities did not respect her, whereas some of them did, you know. And so it's sad to see anybody going through what she's going through, and, you know, people taking advantage of that. But whew, I haven't seen the documentary yet, so hopefully I will get to watch it like within the next couple of days, because obviously I'm also gonna have to do my Love is Blind recap for this week. So you already know my week is already jumbled and looking crazy, but we're gonna get it together, okay? In other news, Simon Guobadia and Porsha Guobadia Williams, whatever her last name is at this present day, they have filed for divorce amid Simon's legal battles with false identity and permanent residency and all kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Obviously, Porsha announced that she was going to be joining the cast of Real Housewives of Atlanta again, which made a lot of sense after finding out that Simon was having these issues. And so is it a storyline or is it real? Obviously it's real because there are legal documents to support the evidence, to support, you know, what the blogs are saying about Simon. Porsha announced that she was going to be rejoining the cast of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and then we found out about Simon's legal drama. However, when Porsha made the video, she was like, who said that? She said, who said that? Who said Porsha Williams is rejoining the cast of Real Housewives of Atlanta? She said Porsha Williams won't be joining anything. Porsha Gorbadia, however, will be, right? Or something like that. Something along those lines is what she said. And then a couple days later, we see that Simon has a lot of issues going on and could possibly be deported because the name that he received permanent residency under in the US is not his actual name, because the name that he had originally entered the US on was, he got deported years prior. And then snuck back in under a false identity, and then child, they found him out, okay? So pretty much what is happening with him, apparently it is something that doesn't matter if he's married to Porsha or not, he could still be deported. And so maybe in America they're divorcing, but in Nigeria they still finna be married. Girl, I don't know. I'm not into other people's married business, okay? That is between them and the good Lord above, okay? Whatever it is. But Porsha and Simon, they appear very happy on the internet. And Simon had also posted that he will stop loving his wife when the divorce is finalized. And I'm just like, what does that even mean, sir? Like, please. I think it's safe to say that we have no idea if they're together or not, much like Princess and Ray J. Princess and Ray J announced that they are getting divorced every other day, and I just can't with them. Like, are you guys bored? Like, are you bored? Either stay together and shut up, or get divorced and shut up, because we do not care. Like, we literally do not care for them to be constantly announcing their split and then staying together and withdrawing the papers. Like, girl, Mona needs to pay these people more money, girl, because the way that they have to do this every year, every 6 months, is crazy. Like, who wants to live like that? Why are they doing that? Like, y'all got kids. Like, please pick a side and stay on it. Okay, I'm tired. I am tired. I am crying. In other news, Miss Netta and Charles are using a laugh track behind their exiting from buildings. So they're coming out of buildings and they are waving at literally nobody and putting the same voices behind their TikToks. I don't know if it's supposed to be funny or we're supposed to believe that people are really out there like, oh my god, it's Miss Netta and Charles. Girl, no, it's the same damn voices, and this is absolutely crazy. You cannot want clout this bad that you would put a laugh track behind your video of you exiting a hotel or a restaurant to act like you're super duper popular. And they are viral in a sense, right? They are a well-known couple on TikTok, but like, they are not Beyonce and Jay-Z. People are not flocking to the freaking Beverly Hills Hotel to see Miss Netta and Charles exit the building. Like, let's be for real. Let's be so for real. But that is actually hilarious. Oh my god. And so, because I don't want this video to be 10 hours long, I must just skip past Gold Girl and talk about Diddy's new scandal. So yesterday on February 26, 2023, a man by the name of Rodney, Lil Rod Jones Jr. came forth and alleged that Diddy, Sean Combs, assaulted him. He was an employee for Diddy, of course. He is known as a child prodigy because he has very famous roots in the gospel realm. And he taught himself how to play about 13 instruments from the time he was a child. And so he's really musically inclined and very talented. And so he is a producer in this present day. So of course, when I saw these allegations, immediately I jumped online and went to go look for the actual documents, because much like the Cassie situation, I wanted to read the documents through and through, but this time I didn't actually get to sit and fully read the documents because I literally got them this morning. The original post that I saw had stated this: in an exclusive report by TMZ, Rodney Jones claims he was by Diddy multiple times and was forced to do unwanted advances by some of his friends. In the shocking court documents obtained by TMZ, it is being reported that Diddy would grope Jones's and touch his. Jones goes on to allege Diddy would walk around naked in front of him. More shocking details allege that Diddy forced the former employee to watch an alleged that involved Love and Hip Hop's Stevie J and another man. Jones also uploaded a screenshot of the alleged sex tape in the documents. Okay, and so I was kind of gagged when I actually went to go look at the documents, and I will put the link to it in my description box so you can see yourself. There's a lot of screenshots, and he's providing a lot of receipts, much like Cassie had a lot of receipts, okay? With Cassie's situation, obviously we knew there was no denying it with Cassie because of how quickly he settled. Things are going a little differently this time. We'll get into that in a second. In the lawsuit, he also mentioned the City Girls rapper Young Miami. Jones continued to allege that Young Miami's female cousin attempted to sex him and have sex with him in front of Diddy and his staff members. He also alleged that Diddy brought into his home in Miami and claims he was drugged and possibly one night. He went on to share an alleged story about how Diddy introduced him to Cuba Gooding Jr. and the actor began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones's legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. That was the initial post that I saw on Hollywood Unlocked, right? And I was just like, oh my God. But of course, immediately after that, Diddy's attorney, Sean Hawley, which I believe Sean Hawley was originally the person that was representing Tory Lanez in the Megan Thee Stallion shooting trial. Sean Hawley told TMZ, Lil Rod is nothing more than a liar who filed a $30 billion lawsuit shamelessly looking for an undeserved payday. His reckless name dropping about events that are pure fiction and simply did not happen is nothing more than a transparent attempt to garner headlines. She adds, we have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are complete lies. Our attempts to share this proof with Mr. Jones' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Mr. Blackburn refuses to return our calls. We will address these outlandish allegations in court and take all appropriate action against those who make them. I don't know how much of what was in the documents is real and how much is allegedly lies, but the screenshots are the screenshots. And I am no body double expert, but I mean, that certainly did look like Stevie J. And it's just like, Stevie J is pretty much catching a stray. What I found out about Lil Rod is that for months, maybe even a year or so, he's been trying to get his publishing from Diddy and Bad Boy and has not been successful in doing so. They have been robbing him from getting his publishing, and if he doesn't get publishing, homeboy not getting paid. And this is a repeat offense by Diddy, allegedly, where he does not pay his artists, his employees, whoever, you know, people that are making the beats, people that are singing the songs. They do not get paid. That's why Lil' Kim had issue with Diddy for a long time. That's why Danity Kane has issues with Diddy. That's why all these artists have issues with Diddy, because he doesn't pay them. Then Diddy tried to smooth things over after the fact and give artists their publishing like last year or the year before that, but it was too late by then and irrelevant. All these people, like Diddy's mom, Diddy's children, have collected the money for the songs, and they didn't step foot in the studio. They didn't write the song. They didn't sing on the song. They didn't have nothing to do with the song. Child, they was probably 2 years old and they got put on for, you know, they were written in the credits so that they could get a check, which is some bull, right? And so Rodney Jr., you know, or Lil Rod, has been trying to get his publishing and has been unsuccessful. And I guess this was his way of saying, okay, y'all don't want to do right by me. It's time to unload the clip. And I don't blame him, not one bit, okay? So after that happens, DJ Akademiks, oh my God, jumps online and starts tweeting about Young Miami. saying it's Young Miami's fault Diddy back in the news. How? I don't know. I told her to STFU and she wouldn't stop. Now look, a nigga making claims versus Diddy. He ats Young Miami and says, stay in a star place and STFU. You getting your sugar Diddy into too much problems. He retweets TMZ and says they even mentioned Young Miami's stupid ass in here. That talk show for sure canceled now. She been running her mouth like Diddy. Ain't tell her ass to lay low. He then says, and y'all thought I was capping when I said Young Miami moving like she's the new Ghislaine Maxwell of the freak-offs. This gagged me. Well, I didn't know that Akademiks said this, but it's bad news bears to be likened to no damn Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, that is not somebody you want to be likened to. And so from the time the allegations came out about Diddy, baby, I would have cut ties. I would have been like, I don't know him. Sorry to this man. What is happening? You know, but Young Miami never did that. She brought her kids to a game one day and that was that. She didn't address anything because it really wasn't for Young Miami to address, but because she has such close proximity to Diddy, everybody was looking at her like, what skeletons are you hiding? Because if what Cassie is saying is actual factuals, which we knew at this point that it had to have been, then you must know something too, or you are actively participating in the same stuff that Cassie was. Do you need help? You know, that's kind of what everybody's attitude was towards Miss Carisha. Imagine 50 niggas coming through to F while playing Act Bad on blast in the background. Gross. DJ Akademiks loves to come for women, okay? They say he's still not seeing Saucy Santana. And they wish he had the same energy for Santana, which is very true. But of course, the stuff didn't end there, okay? When the original post was made, and of course Stevie J's name was brought up, I saw Stevie J comment, I'm gonna insert it, I screenshot it and said, this lawsuit is bogus. This is before, though, I had seen the screenshots in the actual document, right? I'm not gonna lie, the screenshots are not 4K. So it could be somebody that looks like Stevie J, but it's just weird to me that this person would include Stevie J in the lawsuit if it really wasn't Stevie J. That really doesn't make any sense for him to throw Stevie J's name out there. Anyway, Lil Rod had put up a GoFundMe a few weeks back trying to get money to sue Diddy because they were trying to give him pennies for producing, and then on top of that we're trying to steal his publishing, and he wasn't going for that, so he decided he's going to try to sue them. The album that he did for Diddy, he claims that Diddy pretty much puts out an abusive work environment, which we saw on The Band. Okay, so we already know Diddy's work ethic, or what his code of ethics is in terms of the work environment. We know it's not normal. And so Rodney is pretty much saying that there would be sleepless nights. He would have them up for days and tell them, you guys are not allowed to go to sleep until this is done this way, yada 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 yada, which is not normal. That's not okay. Your employer should never be able to tell you that. But the music industry is not your 9 to 5, okay? It is not your regular 9 to 5. People are powerful and they do stuff because they can, and they get away with it most of the time. And most people are too scared to say anything about it. And so this is obviously one of those situations where he decided that he has children, he has a family, he missed out on a lot of holidays and a lot of things working on the Love album for Diddy. And I think I already mentioned it is Grammy nominated, but he's not able to celebrate his accomplishments because they are robbing him in the process. So he started the GoFundMe in trying to get money to be able to sue Diddy, because you can't sue Diddy, Mr. Money Mogul himself, without the funds. And so that is the beginning of this whole story. Now, 3 weeks ago, he posted this video, a snippet of a video of them talking about Lil Rod, and Diddy was, you know, talking or whatever, and Stevie J commented. So maybe this is why Stevie J is included in the lawsuit, but he should have sat there and ate his food, let me tell you. So Stevie J commented on the video and said, post the whole video, don't make it seem like niggas sitting around joking on you. X, you didn't produce 9 songs on the project. Adding a piano on a song doesn't make you the producer. Adding a bass on a song definitely doesn't make you a producer. Tell the whole story on how you came in as an engineer. Don't get selective amnesia, and don't try to make the homie look like he's stealing from you, because clearly I know that ain't the case. Hashtag DZ for life. So Lil Rod responds and says, yo, how dare you? My number ain't changed. Speaking of that, your name is next to mine as a producer on Deliver Me, and no one else touched that track but me and Jay Dilla. I've never been known of an engineer in this game as long as I've worked. In fact, at Mixed by Source is an actual engineer that worked on this album and hasn't been credited as one. I'm confused because if I'm an engineer, why am I credited as a producer? And this video clearly speaks to them plotting on my pub, so plotting on the publishing. But what I'm most certain is you're possibly working with them against me. I don't give no F's about no danger zone. Them threats ain't never worked. Hashtag love. Girl, it's getting sticky. So Stevie J also put clown emojis on another post. And so then Justin Combs, aka Diddy's son, had to have his rep put out a statement because Justin Combs is also one of the people being sued by Lil Rod. And so I'm going to tell you guys a list of people that this man is suing in his lawsuit, okay? Because much like Cassie, it was not just Sean Combs and Bad Boy Entertainment. It was boom, 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 boom. Trying to hit this nigga with the RICO. Okay, it's getting deep. Okay, very, very deep. So Sean Combs, his rep, says Justin Combs denies these absurd allegations. They are all lies. This is a clear example of a desperate person taking desperate measures in hopes of a payday. There will be legal consequences for all defamatory statements made about the Combs family. Let me go to the actual document because, girl, you're gonna need to set some time aside to read through this thing, okay? So there are 13 parties listed. The plaintiff is listed as Rodney Jones. All the defendants include Universal Music Group, Motown Records, Love Records, Christina Coram, John and Jane Doe's 1 through 10, Ethiopia Habtemariam, Lucian Charles Grange, Combs Global Enterprises, Sean Combs, Justin Dior Combs, Chalice Recording Studios, ABC Corporations 1 through 10. That is everybody that is listed in the lawsuit, okay? Now, I can't read you guys everything, so I'm going to read y'all the parts that were jumping out at me. So you will, in the documents, you will see pretty much pictures of people and their home addresses or the best address for them. So everybody's address is listed here. The women, the men, Diddy's address, Justin's address. And then it gives a background of Rodney. We're going to skip over that. Summary of events. From September 2022 to November 2023, Mr. Jones produced 9 songs on Mr. Combs' Love album. Mr. Jones lived with Mr. Combs for months at a time, spending holidays, birthdays, and missing major family events. Mr. Jones resided at Mr. Combs' residence located in Los Angeles, California, New York City, and Miami, Florida. Mr. Jones also spent several weeks on a yacht rented by Mr. Combs in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer on the Love album. The claims raised in this complaint have been corroborated through witness statements, video/audio recordings, and images that Mr. Jones has in his possession. Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to record him constantly. On several occasions, Mr. Combs took Mr. Jones' cell phone and began recording himself. As a result, Mr. Jones has secured hundreds of hours of footage, audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity. This is why I'm confused as to why they're even trying this man, because if Diddy knows that he took this man's phone and was recording himself for other people and they're doing illicit things, nefarious activities, girl, if you know that you did this, or maybe he doesn't know because maybe he's been on narcotics or something crazy. If you know you took this man's phone and did all kinds, and he possibly does have evidence against you, unless you're a psychopath or a narcissist, which, you know, Diddy has been leaning towards those things. If you know that you took the man's phone and were recording yourself doing certain things, why are you even gonna come out and say, I didn't do these things, yada, yada, yada? Why not just stay silent and pay the monies that people are owed and stop getting yourself into problems? See, you didn't got too big for your britches. That's what we say. You didn't got too big for your britches. And now they can't even stop exposing you. Like, he's just getting exposed left, right, and center. It just won't stop. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. He's too prideful because the whole entire thing from the time Cassie came out till now is just embarrassing. And the whole empire is crashing before our eyes. I feel like this is something that, baby, the only person that can stop it at this point is God. And I don't think God wants it to be stopped. This is a dark coming to light situation, okay? Mr. Jones has secured irrefutable evidence of the acquisition, use, and distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms. The displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms. You can't be as big as a damn celebrity as Diddy and be having unregistered firearms. That's crazy. Mr. Combs providing laced alcohol beverages to minors and workers at his homes in California, New York, and the U.S. Virgin Islands and Florida. Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram, also known as KK, instructing her staff to retrieve drugs so she can provide it to Mr. Combs for his consumption. This is a similar allegation to what was in Cassie's lawsuit. She said the same thing. She gained an opioid addiction because of this very thing. And so obviously if she was addicted, he's addicted. The drugs were originally prescribed, and then once you become addicted to an opioid, you're gonna have to keep trying to find a damn opioid, okay? And so that's what's going on here. Christian Combs drugging and a woman. Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact on his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Child, y'all know I didn't touch on that topic on this channel. Now, I didn't touch it, and I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. Praise the Lord. Okay, I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole, so we're just going to skip over that one, okay? Young Miami's cousin and or assistant, Mr. Jones, actor Cuba Gooding Jr., harassing and assaulting Mr. Jones, rapper, redacted. So there's obviously somebody very famous here. We don't know who it is. On Mr. Combs' yacht, consorting with underage girls, workers, and R&B singer, redacted, in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home, consorting with underage girls and sex workers. Girl, I have no words. Am I surprised? No. This is very much R. Kelly 2.0. R. Kelly's not the only one. The whole industry is a mess. Are we surprised? Absolutely not. So then the lawsuit gets into the shooting that happened at a recording studio. It's called Chalice Recording Studio. There's also images of the evidence that he uploaded to the document. On or about September 12, 2022, Mr. Combs held a writers and producers camp at Chalice Recording Studios. Present at this camp were Mr. Combs, his son Justin Combs, and Justin's friend named G. Mr. G is a 30-year-old tall African-American male, so a tall black man, okay? In addition to these individuals, other musicians were present at the camp. This writer has spoken to several musicians who attended the camp. One evening during the camp, Mr. Combs, Justin Combs, and G were in a heated conversation. That conversation was moved out of the studio into the restroom adjacent to where Mr. Jones was sitting. Mr. Jones was approximately 2 feet away from the bathroom when gunshots rang out. Mr. Jones recalls hearing multiple gunshots. Mr. Jones immediately went into a state of shock and feared that he would be shot next. Mr. Jones genuinely believed that he would be shot through the door due to how close he was. After the shooting ended, a crowd gathered around the restroom. When the door finally opened, Mr. Combs and Justin Combs exited. G was lying on the restroom floor in fetal position, holding his stomach and bleeding out of his leg/hip area. Everyone stood around looking upon G. Frustrated by the lack of aid to G, Mr. Jones dropped everything, ran to G, and immediately began placing pressure on G's gunshot wound to his stomach. As he was applying pressure on his stomach, Mr. Jones realized that G was gushing blood from another area near his leg, or hip. He decided to lift G and place him to sit on the toilet. Mr. Jones asked the crowd to call the ambulance. I can't believe they're sitting around watching and not freaking doing anything about it. Like, I'm gagged, okay? But okay, I'm gonna talk about something in a second. Okay. Mr. Jones lifted G and brought him to the ambulance at the studio's front. At this time, Mr. Combs and Justin disappeared to another part of the studio. Mr. Combs gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was shot standing outside of the studio by a drive-by assailant. Girl, when I say, child, hold on. So, there is a screenshot of the article that was posted about the shooting, okay? The article is titled "Man Shot Outside Party at Hollywood Recording Studio," and it says at least one person shot at a party at a Hollywood recording studio, police said Monday. Officers were called to the address to check into reports of a shooting at about 3 a.m. according to LAPD. At the location, they found a man that had been shot after stepping outside the studio. The man, in his 30s, was taken to hospital in stable condition. He was reportedly shot in the abdomen. Sky 2 was over the scene early Monday, spotted several people sitting outside the location being questioned by police. No information was released about the suspect, and it is not known if the shooting was gang-related. The man, in his 30s, was taken to hospital in stable condition. Mr. Jones has several corroborating witnesses who spoke with this writer anonymously due to fear of retaliation from Mr. Combs. They have agreed to speak publicly when subpoenaed. Okay, don't be surprised if some people will be going missing now, okay? Mr. Jones has the clothing he wore that day and believes it may still have the stains and DNA of G's blood. The following screenshots of the aftermath of the restroom where G was shot by either Mr. Combs or Justin Combs. So, clearly, G was not shot outside of the studio as Mr. Combs instructed his team to report to law enforcement. Mr. Combs and defendants LR, MR, UMG, and CRS provided private security for the writers' camp at defendant CRS. The security was porous and lackluster at best. The fact that either Mr. Combs and Jay Combs were allowed to enter CRS with guns and those guns were not confiscated by security is a clear breach of duty by Mr. Combs, defendants LR, MR, and UMG to protect Mr. Jones and other attendees of this writers' camp. As a result of this shooting, Mr. Jones is severely traumatized. Mr. Jones now suffers from PTSD, severe anxiety, depression, and insomnia. Now, I know that this man ain't lying about this damn being shot inside the studio because I have a little story time on my members only about a shooting that happened inside my home. And this pool of blood right here is exactly what my floor looked like. If somebody is shot inside a place or outside a place, wherever they get shot and they start leaking from, it's going to be a pool of blood there, okay? And that is what this bathroom looks like. The bathroom is a mess. There is blood everywhere, okay? There's a big pool of blood on the floor and there's blood on the toilet seat as he suggested. This man, you know, maybe he was Holy Spirit led because he was just gathering all this evidence and was going to be able to later tell his story and help to expose the sickness that is going on around Diddy. And I'm not mad at it at all because this is scary business. Imagine somebody's getting shot right next to you, okay, or 2 feet away from you, and it's multiple shots ringing out, and somebody's in the bathroom dying. Everybody's crowding around. Nobody's doing anything to help the person. And so this is very much what happened in the story that I had told. Nobody wanted to call 911. Everybody was panicking about the illegal firearms. Nobody wants to call freaking 911, okay? And this is the same damn situation. Nobody's calling, nobody's moving. Maybe everybody's in shock, okay? But like, what is happening here? And so the fact that there was so many people at the studio and nobody moved, there's a man dying on the floor. Justin and Diddy allegedly are the 2 people that exited the bathroom after the shots rang out. I mean, it can only be one of 2 things, unless they were taking turns shooting off the damn pistol. Like, what? And why was that the solution for whatever altercation they got into? Why not just kick him out the studio? Why did they have to shoot him in the studio in front of many people? I guess when you have done it before, you get so used to doing things, allegedly, that you know you're gonna get away with it, because even the article that was released about it, obviously people were paid. You know, somebody had to have been paid to make this never even garner enough attention to look in Diddy's direction, despite the fact that it was at his writer's camp. It wasn't a Hollywood party at a studio. It was a literal studio session. It was work, and somebody got shot at 3 a.m. at the studio. Wasn't no party. Okay, so the fact that this never even like got any light, people just thought it was, oh, random. It wasn't random, clearly, and now there's a backstory to it, and people are saying, yeah, this happened. They got witnesses. Apparently, they got witnesses. So why Sean Hollywood come out and say, I mean, she's just doing her job, child. Like, why would you come out and say this is baseless? He just looking for a payday. It's giving a little bit deeper than rap, literally. The lawsuit talks about how he was by Diddy. Throughout his time living with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was a victim of constant unsolicited and unauthorized groping and touching of his by Mr. Combs. Now, people are like, how does a grown man grope your what were your pants doing off? Or was it not that? Was he just like touching his bum? Like, I don't really know what was happening here. I'm confused with the wording. These events took place in Los Angeles, New York, Florida, and the United States Virgin Islands. In addition to the unsolicited and unauthorized touching, Mr. Jones was forced by Mr. Combs to work in Mr. Combs' bathroom as Mr. Combs walked around naked and showered in a clear glass enclosure. This is crazy. As a producer, if he's there to produce, I am not sure why anything other than music is being produced. I don't know what is happening in Mr. Combs' bathroom, allegedly. Like, why is this a thing? As a heterosexual Christian man, Mr. Jones was uncomfortable with Mr. Combs' advances and expressed his discomfort to Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram, aka KK. I don't really know why this man felt that he had to stay in the bathroom, unless he was scared after seeing somebody get shot in another bathroom. Like, I don't know what exactly, why this person didn't just leave at any given point. I don't know. But when you're in something like this, unless you've been in it, you really can't say what you would or wouldn't have done. You can only say, well, I wouldn't have done this or I wouldn't have done that, until you're in it and you realize, oh, oh, okay, for some reason he felt stuck, or, you know, he doesn't know what to do because he is getting paid, or he's supposed to be getting paid. He's working. He's supposed to be working. There's so many different things, and so don't be judging this man too harshly, okay? When he told KK this, she responded to his complaint with, you know, Sean will be Sean. Enabling. She did wrong for that response. And it really does sound like something somebody would say. Like, no, that is not okay on any level. KK also attempted to downplay Mr. Combs' groping of Mr. Jones's and as friendly horseplay. So I'm assuming that he was groping his butt through his pants. This is crazy. I'm assuming that that's what was happening. He wasn't like cheek spread. Okay, like I don't think that's what was happening, at least not on this occasion. Friendly horseplay, stating that those acts were Mr. Combs' way of showing that he likes you. That's a crazy way to show somebody that you like them. Paying people is how you show people your appreciation for them. Giving people their dues, their credits due. That is how you show people that you like them and that you appreciate them. At least that's what I do. If I like you, I'm gonna pay you. Okay, like if you do a job for me and I like you, I'm gonna pay you. I'm not gonna be over here groping your booty hole. Like, I'm not doing it. That's a weird method of payment. I was like, oh, I like you a lot, let me just like, huh? No, this is crazy. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm beside myself. I really am. Despite these assurances on several occasions, when Mr. Combs began to undress and walk around the house naked, KK would say, okay, I am leaving now. So she got to leave, but Mr. Jones did not. And she would disappear. KK's hypocrisy is breathtaking at best or enabling at worst. Mr. Jones believed that KK aided and abetted Mr. Combs' of him and was working with Mr. Combs to groom him into accepting a relationship. Through these deviant acts, one would say Mr. Combs has a pattern and practice of engaging in such nefarious activity. This ongoing conduct shows that Mr. Combs cannot be rehabilitated. I don't have nothing to say about that. So then it talks about how he was trying to groom him into Mr. Combs was aware that Mr. Jones looked up to and idolized music producer Stephen Aaron Jordan, Stevie J. Stevie J is an American DJ, record producer, and television personality. He was a part of Bad Boy Productions team, The Hitmen. In 1997, Stevie J won a Grammy Award for his work on Puff Daddy's debut album. Throughout the late 1990s, Stevie J produced for several artists including Mariah Carey, Tevin Campbell, The Notorious B.I.G., 112, Jodeci, Faith Evans, Jay-Z, and Eve. And also beat Eve, allegedly. Stevie J was one of the producers on the Love album. Mr. Combs used access to Stevie J and his knowledge of Mr. Jones' admiration of Stevie J to groom and entice Mr. Jones to engage in homosexuality. Mr. Combs went as far as to share a video of Stevie J, a Caucasian male without a condom. This was done to ease Mr. Jones's anxiety concerning homosexuality. According to Mr. Combs, this is a normal practice in the music industry. Look, even Stevie J is doing it. Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in with rapper redacted, R&B singer redacted, and Stevie J. Mr. Combs promised to make sure that Mr. Jones wins Producer of the Year at Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. I didn't know that this was in here. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to read 72 again. Mr. Combs promised to make sure that Mr. Jones wins Producer of the Year at the Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. This is scary. This is scary stuff. The following are screenshots of the video of Stevie J, a Caucasian male, that Mr. Combs provided to Mr. Jones. Okay, so when it says redacted, it gives hints as to who it is in the footnotes. Okay, in the footnotes where it says he has sex with a rapper that's redacted, it says I don't think I can read anymore. I'm about to cry. Whoa. I feel like I'm not supposed to be reading this anymore. Oh my God. Okay, so in the footnotes, it says the redacted rapper is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Obviously, we know who that is, Meek Mill. Number 6, the R&B singer is he performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency. That's Usher. I was just about, when it said R&B singer, I was going to talk about Usher going to Puffy's Flavor Camp when he was a child, but let me. And then number 7, who was redacted before, is this writer is in possession of the video and will provide a copy to the court. Ooh, I don't know if I can handle reading any more of this, girl. I didn't know that there was footnotes. Okay, so the person will provide this video. So there's screenshots of the video and the person will provide the video to the court if they need to. Because there was another page with redacted, and the rapper that was redacted that was on Mr. Combs's yacht, number 3 says he is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. And then the R&B singer who also had underage girls was he is a Grammy award-winning R&B singer who had trouble with law enforcement after assaulting a Bayesian billionaire. Chris Brown, the woman that was assaulted by Christian Combs, or drugged and assaulted by Christian Combs, says a complaint is forthcoming, so that may break soon. And then number 1 in the Virgin Islands says this writer spoke with several employees of the yacht rented by Mr. Combs in the U.S. Virgin Islands, who personally witnessed defendant Coram instruct her staff, Brendan Paul, Frankie Santella, and Moy Bon, spike bottles of champagne with ecstasy. This is a mess. Honest to God, it's a mess. Like I said, there's screenshots of allegedly Stevie J doing something with some Caucasian man. Then the lawsuit gets into him being assaulted by Young Miami's cousin. This was Thanksgiving of 2022. Apparently, Mr. Combs was intoxicated and offered cocaine to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones rejected him and went to the restroom. Then Young Miami's cousin burst into the bathroom and started groping him. He believed that Mr. Combs sent her in there to sexually assault him. As she entered the bathroom, she dropped to her knees and began performing on him. Mr. Jones pushed her away and exited the bathroom. What kind of craziness is this, girl? Young Miami's cousin did not accept Mr. Jones' rejection as she proceeded to follow Mr. Jones out of the bathroom. She started undressing and attempted to strip him and have sex with him in the presence of Mr. Combs and his staff. This is crazy. Once again, he pushed her off. The following images are from a video of Young Miami, her cousin, and Mr. Jones and Mr. Combs. And so more screenshots from, like, I guess, security footage. They have possession of the video and they will provide it in court if they need to. So then it talks about Trafficking and Victim Protection Act. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was transported from California to New York, Florida, and the United States Virgin Islands. During this time, Mr. Jones was forced to solicit and perform to the pleasure of Mr. Combs. On or about February 4th, 2023, so last February, Mr. Combs forced Mr. Jones to bring workers back to his home in Miami, Florida. There are images of this as well. On or about February 2nd, 2023, Mr. Jones believed Mr. Combs drugged him. Mr. Combs recalls waking up naked, dizzy, and confused. He was in bed with two and Mr. Combs. He recalls aimlessly wandering about the house with no clothes on. More screenshots or more like footage. Another occasion in Miami, Florida, on Thanksgiving night of 2022, Mr. Combs asked Mr. Jones and DeForest Taylor to enter the studio bathroom. He asked them for a $100 bill because he wanted them to do with him. Mr. Jones was scared, but luckily he didn't have a $100 bill, so Mr. Combs waited a little later to do with Young Miami. Later that evening, he required Mr. Jones to solicit workers from Booby Trap on the river located at blah blah blah. Mr. Jones did so, and Mr. Combs forced him to engage in unsolicited with these workers. So this is a lot like what Cassie had talked about, the freak offs. There's a picture of Booby Trap. As part of Mr. Jones' worker recruitment tools, Mr. Combs provided Mr. Jones with an exclusive bad boy baseball cap and required him to wear it to Booby Trap on the river as a signal to any sex worker he approached that Mr. Combs was in town and had sent Mr. Jones to recruit them. This is nasty work. Mr. Jones had no desire to visit Booby Trap on the river. Mr. Jones had no desire to solicit from Booby Trap on the river. Mr. Combs used his power and influence to intimidate and force Mr. Jones into soliciting from Booby Trap on the river. As detailed below, Mr. Combs has used many tactics to maintain dominion and control over Mr. Jones. Apparently, these workers were accustomed to servicing Mr. Combs and would know that he was in town by the sight of the bad boy baseball cap. The following are Instagram profiles of two workers that Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to solicit and have with at his home in Miami, Florida. He promised him a Grammy for Producer of the Year for a Love album. He offered him $250,000 to purchase all the instruments he wanted. He promised him ownership of his $20 million property, One Star Island in Miami, Florida. He promised access to record label executives like defendants Lucian Charles Grange and Ethiopia Habtemariam. Mr. Combs would often switch up his approach. He would go from promising Mr. Jones the world to threatening Mr. Jones with physical harm. Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones' face and informed Mr. Jones that he is willing to kill his mother, Janice Combs, if he must in order to get what he wants, so he wouldn't think twice to harm Mr. Jones. What am I reading? I said I won't go read the whole thing, girl. I'm gagging. I don't know what I'm reading. One thing that is really bothering me about the whole thing's bothering me. I'm just gonna put that out there. The whole thing is bothering me. But one of these things that's really just eating at me is Justin Combs' involvement. Because at what point do we look at this and say, this is incestuous? Because why are you participating in a freak off with your daddy? Why is your daddy making you solicit young girls And y'all is doing freak offs together. Because Justin is not underage anymore, right? But why is there some father-son freak off happening? I never want my parent to see me ass naked getting it on with somebody. Much less participating in the shenanigans. Like, where do they do that at? This is incest. This is sick. Now I know why Misa was really mad. She wasn't mad at the DUI. She mad because she knows what's going on. Like, I know she's over there fuming that her son's name is being brought up in a lawsuit now because her ex is reckless. Like, this is crazy. The father has exposed the child, allegedly, to this lifestyle, and this is just disgusting. Like, I can't even wrap my head around it. I'm beside myself. Because it's one thing to do what you're doing over there, but to involve your kids is just beyond me. It's beyond me. But these people, these criminals, they ain't got no type of they don't have a conscience. Mr. Combs and Justin Combs solicits and engages in illicit sex with minors and sex workers. On or about July 2nd, 2023 in California, Mr. Combs had a listening party at his home. Present at this party was R&B artist 9, so again, Chris Brown, Justin Combs, workers, and some underage girls. The event began at 7 p.m. Mr. Combs requested female sex workers and required Mr. Jones to solicit them. An hour later, several sex workers appeared. In addition to sex workers, there were at least 5 women in the crowd that were under the age of 16. Mr. Combs forced all the women to drink Lace de Leon liquor. Jesus have mercy. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs laced the liquor with ecstasy. Mr. Combs did not check the identification of any of these underage girls. The presence of these underage women made Mr. Jones very uncomfortable. He attempted to leave, and Mr. Combs forced him to stay. Mr. Combs went as far as to take Mr. Jones' car keys to prevent him from leaving. After being forced to drink Lace de Leon shots, Mr. Jones began feeling lightheaded and recalls passing out and waking up at 4 a.m. the following morning, naked with a sex worker sleeping next to him. Screenshots of a video from that night is embedded below. This writer is in possession of the video and will provide a copy to the court. So you see Diddy with an underage female, allegedly. You see underage female. You see Justin Combs with an underage female. Mr. Combs attempts to pass off Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. And so this situation happened on the yacht. Okay, so imagine this is happening and you was stranded because you're on a freaking boat in the middle of the damn ocean. Like, what? As evidenced by a video, which screenshots are embedded below, Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones's legs, his upper inner thighs, near his groin, the small of his back, and near his buttocks and his shoulders. Mr. Jones was extremely uncomfortable and proceeded to lean away from Mr. Gooding Jr. He rejected his advances, and Mr. Gooding Jr. did not stop until Mr. Jones forcibly pushed him away. The following screenshot of the encounter with Cuba Gooding Jr. is, provided. What's interesting to me is the screenshots that they provide, like the screenshots of Cuba Gooding Jr., for instance. I'm not sure why they didn't show the screenshot of him pushing him away. To me, that would have been a better screenshot than the one they put, because the one that they put in here looks like 2 people having a conversation. Yes, Cuba is a little too close for comfort, but there is not a screenshot of him touching his leg. There's one of him with his hand over, or his arm over Mr. Jones's neck, but that's about it, And yeah, Mr. Jones is saying something, pointing to himself. But he was clearly working. He has his, headset on and the computer's there. So clearly he's working. And Cuba Gooding Jr. also has a headset on. Maybe he was like listening to whatever he was producing. I don't freaking know what he was doing, child. But the screenshot itself is not very incriminating per se. I think that they should have used another screenshot to show a story. So then it talks about the Love album. Then it talks about, him trying to secure the money from the Love album. And obviously that wasn't going over very well. Mr. Jones attempted to work with Mr. Combs to secure his publishing and royalty rights for the work he completed on the Love album. Mr. Combs only offered Mr. Jones $29,000 for 13 months, thousands of hours of work, and 9 songs that made it to the Love album. Ironically, Mr. Jones was willing to take $50,000, his publishing and royalties. Mr. Combs' self-serving greed would not allow him to pay Mr. Jones an additional $21,000. So originally, all he wanted was $50,000 for, the which is crazy because 13 months, $50,000, baby, you could have got that on welfare. Like, that's crazy. This is what? Anyway, what? Child, he's taking $50,000. That is some people's yearly salary, but not in a job like that. Okay, that's some people's 9 to 5. 50,000 American dollars. Child, well, that's like 70 grand Canadian, right? But like, that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is, he was willing to take just that for the 13 months and his publishing and his royalties, but they wouldn't give him that. They were only trying to give him 29,000, which is crazy. Mr. Combs' deceptive business practices became so bad that Mr. Jones was left with no choice other than to make a public plea on social media for Mr. Combs to pay him for his work. After publicly requesting that Mr. Combs do the right thing and pay him fairly, Mr. Jones received an onslaught of threatening messages from Stevie J and Love Records A&R DeForest Taylor. And so they text him. On another occasion, while standing in Mr. Combs' bedroom, Mr. Jones was forced to watch as Mr. Combs displayed his guns and bragged about getting away with shooting people. Mr. Combs shared that he was responsible for the shooting in the nightclub in New York City with rapper Shine. Girl, we already knew, child. We already knew.
Michael Levi Barrow is a Belizean rapper, politician, and convicted criminal. That was from Wikipedia. Shall I continue?
No. Now she listening to me. Siri was like, "Oh, this is some tea." Siri was like, "This is some tea." Let me tell you what I know. I know that Shine is girl. Why was she listening like that? Again. She just told me who Shine was. Please, girl. I never asked you. He shared that artist and Mr. Combs' girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, carried the gun into the club for him and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual. Girl. I didn't know this because, baby, I was a baby at the time, but him and J-Lo were arrested after the New York shooting. I had no idea. So pretty much all these things built the fear in Mr. Jones, right? He's witnessing a lot of things. He's been threatened. Allegedly, Diddy told him he will eat his face. What in the Jeffrey Dahmer is going on here? Like, eat somebody's face, trying to kill your own mama. This man is sick. Okay, Mr. Jones was terrified of Mr. Combs. He felt like he could not tell him no. And that is why when people are like, that's a grown man, how could this grown man let another grown man do X, Y, and Z? He was scared of him. He was scared of him. A lot of people are scared of Diddy if y'all didn't realize. Okay, men and women alike, okay? They know not to cross him, per se. Mr. Combs made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. Child. Then they put a picture of Fahim there, child. Now, Fahim, how you get it? Child, you should have been over there at the mosque. You're over here making people disappear, allegedly. Sir, You need to get back in your prayer bag, because ain't no damn way. Ain't no damn way. Mr. Combs instructs his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad if they are ever pulled over by police in Miami or California. Upon information and belief, Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was shot at CRS. The LAPD was in CRS and witnessed the blood in the restroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the shooting of G occurred outside of the studio. See, I knew he had pull. Of course he got pull. He's Diddy. You know, like, that claim is the same claim that I was told to tell the damn police that there was a drive-by shooting. Wasn't no damn drive-by shooting, okay? Wasn't no drive-by shooting. The call was coming from inside the house, okay? Like, wasn't no drive-by. That's why I believe the damn story, because it's hitting home, okay? Mr. Jones had no reason to disbelieve Mr. Combs, as he had seen firsthand through the shooting of G and the subsequent silence of the LAPD and the media that Mr. Combs indeed had the power to harm him. This makes sense to me. Child, 1 + 1 is equal to 2, okay? The LAPD had spent hours in the studio after the shooting of G, yet there was no arrest. Mr. Jones witnessed the LAPD in the restroom pictured above, yet no arrests were made. And obviously that meant no gun was obtained either. Somebody got paid. This is a scandal of all scandals, baby. Even Olivia Pope couldn't get them out of this. Neither could Annalise Keating. Okay, let me tell you. LAPD has to explain themselves after this one. Okay, child, it's dirty cops everywhere. So then it mentions all the other people, and it says defendants, Ethiopia, Lucian, Motown Records, Love Records, and Universal Music Group aided, abetted, and profited off of Sean Combs' RICO enterprise. According to Mr. Jones, whenever defendant Grange visited Mr. Combs at his homes, it would be in the evening, and he and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedroom. Defendant Grange sponsored and attended several Love album listening parties at Mr. Combs' home in Los Angeles, California. These parties were sponsored by defendants MR, LR, and UMG. So MR is Motown Records, LR is Love Records, and UMG is Universal Music Group. As evidence above, these parties had an underage girls present. During these parties, defendant Grange knew or should have known that Mr. Combs was drugging the attendees through lace bottles of DeLeon tequila and Ciroc vodka. Listen, the stuff that we see in the media, a lot of the times, they know it's coming out before we ever get to see it. And so when DeLeon parted ways with Diddy, when the Cassie thing happens, baby, if you think for 1 second they didn't know that this was coming out, and they had to distance themselves from that time, because this looks very bad. Obviously, they're not there, right? They just DeLeon, or they're whoever is the brand behind DeLeon. They're just the brand behind DeLeon, but their name being associated with that person as a spokesperson, right? Diddy's the owner or whatever he was for DeLeon Tequila. Them having that affiliation, and then this comes out that they were using this alcohol and putting ecstasy in it, lacing it, and having underage girls. This is just bad news bears for everybody. This don't look good in no language. Okay, you can't put this in Japanese, Spanish, French, Italian. There is no language that you could translate this into that is gonna sound good. Okay, and everything sounds better in Spanish. So that should tell you something. Okay, because this is crazy. It is no secret that Mr. Combs had specific bottles of alcohol designated for females, and other bottles he designated for his staff, his artists, and himself. This fact was detailed by former artists and bodyguards of Mr. Combs. As a sponsor of these events, defendant Grange had a duty and obligation to ensure that sex workers and underage girls were not present, and that Mr. Combs was not spiking the alcohol with date drugs. On YouTube channel The Art of Dialogue, former bodyguard Gene Deal exposed Mr. Combs' pill mixing method used to spike cranberry juice and orange juice. Child, not the juices too, child. This is too much. According to Mr. Deal, Mr. Combs would place ecstasy and other date drugs in the juices. Former artist Mark Curry exposed Mr. Combs spiking bottles of Moet, the VIP section of nightclubs. Mr. Combs would have a set of Moet champagne bottles for his artists and a set for women. And child, Moets. Either way, it was laced with ecstasy. Okay, this writer has spoken with several former employees of Mr. Combs who witnessed defendant Coram, so KK, the lady, instruct her staff to lace champagne, DeLeon, and Ciroc liquor bottles with ecstasy and other illicit drugs. Girl. Mr. Jones recalls seeing defendant Habet Mariam visiting Mr. Combs' home in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California. According to Mr. Jones, whenever defendant Habet Mariam, girl, I'm sorry, child, visited Mr. Combs at his homes, it would be in the evening, and she and Mr. Combs would disappear for hours in Mr. Combs' bedroom. According to Mr. Jones, this defendant also visited Mr. Combs at CRS during Mr. Combs' writing camp. She sponsored and attended several Love album listening parties at his homes in Los Angeles and California. These parties were sponsored by Motown Records, Love Records, and UMG. These parties also had workers and underage girls. During these parties, she knew or should have known that Mr. Combs was drugging the attendees through lace bottles of DeLeon tequila and Ciroc vodka. And you know what? This is not far-fetched that they had to know, because they got to know which ones to not drink, unless they just be like, oh, I don't drink, or they don't drink at all, because they know something's up with the damn alcohol. But you guys are letting other people drink the damn alcohol that are clueless. Okay, and maybe it's common knowledge where they at. Maybe it's known that if you go to a Diddy party, this is what's going on. So either don't drink or don't go. If you are going to go, you're going to be forced to drink, so don't go. Keep yourself safe, keep yourself out of harm's way, keep yourself away. Maybe that's a known thing, but these are young people that they're recruiting, innocent, young, underage girls, allegedly. They're recruiting to come to these parties. They don't know no better. All they're seeing is dollar signs. All they're seeing is a good damn time, free alcohol. Diddy wants to hang out with me. Sean, first of all, he's using his son, who's cute, to recruit the girls, allegedly. So who's not gonna go? The girls are in love with this boy. They think he fine, so they gonna flock, okay, by the bundle, okay, like, huh? According to Mr. Jones, during the 13 months he lived and traveled with Mr. Combs, he witnessed Mr. Combs display and distribute guns from his bedroom closet in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, to questionable individuals dressed in all black. According to Mr. Jones, during the 13 months he lived and traveled with Mr. Combs, he witnessed defendant Coram openly order her assistants to keep Mr. Combs high off gummies and pills. There's a footnote there that says, we have a recording of this and will provide it to the court. Girl, it's looking real sticky. It's looking real sticky for these people, girl. A recording? Ciao. Ooh-wee. Defendant Coram required all employees, from the butler, the chef, to the housekeepers, to walk around with a pouch or fanny pack filled with cocaine, GHB, ecstasy, marijuana gummies, from 100 to 250 milligrams each, and Tucci, a pink drug that is a combination of ecstasy and cocaine. And then they put a screenshot of what Tucci looked like, or Tucci. Girl, I don't know, because I don't do drugs. Okay, girl, I don't know what the hell this is. It was important to defendant Coram to have Mr. Combs' drug of choice immediately ready when he asked for it. First of all, imagine working here. Maybe all the people that work here don't leave here, baby. But imagine working there and forgetting you got the Tucci in your damn fanny pack, and you leave with the fanny pack, and you get pulled over by the police, and now all of a sudden you is being thrown under the damn jail because you forgot to take out Diddy's drugs out your fanny pack. Child, I can't. This is a crazy job to have. When you sign up to work for Diddy, you don't know what you're gonna get yourself into. You could be there to spread the damn sheets, and next thing you know, you got a fanny pack full of Toki. I can't. This is crazy. Defendant Coram ordered and distributed ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms to Mr. Combs and his celebrity guests who were present on his rented yacht. She also ordered for him. On multiple occasions, defendant Coram forced Mr. Jones to carry Mr. Combs' drug pouch against his will. As the chief of staff, defendant Coram was instrumental in organizing and executing the RICO enterprise. Defendant Coram had the following individuals execute the following task for the RICO enterprise. A. Stevie J recruits workers and attends and participates in freak-offs. B. Justin Combs solicits underage girls and sex workers would engage in freak-offs. Again, this is incestuous. I am confused. C. Brendan Paul works as Mr. Combs' mule. He acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and guns. 19 footnote, we have a video of Mr. Combs, Stevie J, and Plaintiff Jones at a strip club. Mr. Combs is recording the video while coaching and training Plaintiff Jones how to recruit the workers. How you gonna get out of that one, sir? How you gonna get out of that one, sir? Unless you kidnap Mr. Jones, take his cellular device, throw it in the bottom of the damn ocean. Well, destroy it first. Throw it at the bottom of the damn ocean and then throw him in the damn ocean too. How do you get out of this? There's video evidence. Allegedly. Girl. D. Frankie Santella works alongside Brendan. While Brendan acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and guns, Frankie carries the money and pays for the guns and drugs. Moy Bond hires workers and attends and participates in freak-offs. The footnote for number 20, which is Frankie Santella, says he's the vice president of music management and strategic partnerships, vice president of music management and Strategic Partnerships, Combs Global. The footnote for 21 says that the plaintiff has intentionally left the names and images of these individuals out of the pleading out of fear of retaliation because they are gang members, allegedly, okay? So Mr. Combs funded and used his affiliation with local gangs and gang leaders who would frequent his homes in LA and Miami to secure the drugs and guns he obtained and distributed out of his homes in Los Angeles and Miami. This is deeper than This is deeper than I don't even know. Defendants executed their RICO enterprise with threats of violence, threatening to eat plaintiff's face, displaying and distributing guns in plaintiff's presence, bragging about having law enforcement under control, bragging about murdering people, bragging about bribing witnesses and jurors in the criminal case concerning the 1999 New York City nightclub shooting with Shine. Defendants executed their RICO enterprise with threats of isolation from the music and entertainment industry, parading powerful music industry executives such as defendants Lucian Charles Grange, Ethiopia Habtemariam, at his parties filled with workers, minors, and illegal drugs such as ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms. Defendants executed their RICO enterprise with threats of non-payment for work completed, fake promises of cash payments of $250,000, Producer of the Year Grammy Awards, and guaranteed access to future projects and a $20 million home on Star Island in Miami. Obviously, Diddy's high as hell. Because why would he randomly offer this man his $20 million home if he engaged in homosexual acts? Like, at that point, sorry, Mr. Jones, but you had to say, Diddy, your home, that don't even sound realistic. Like a $20 million home on an island, like, why would you give that to me? You want a booty hole that bad? Like, why would you give me a $20 million home? That doesn't even make any sense. At that point, the guy probably knew what was up, okay? It's such an unrealistic offer that he had to know something not right here in the water. Gagging, because I'm only on page 33, and I know I said I wasn't gonna read the whole thing, but baby, I can't stop reading. Mr. Combs is allowed to wreak havoc. While living and traveling with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones discovered that Mr. Combs has hidden cameras in every room of his homes. Am I surprised by this? Absolutely not. Okay, when you're that rich and you know you've been doing dirt, you finna be paranoid, okay? Mr. Jones believed that Mr. Combs has recordings of defendants Lucian Grange, Ethiopia Habtemariam, as well as other celebrities, music label executives, politicians, and athletes. Upon information and belief, these individuals were recorded without their knowledge and consent, and as is the case with the homosexual tape of Stevie J that Mr. Combs provided to Mr. Jones, Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. All different. Baby, one thing about it, you can't be going to these rich people's houses and participating in the freak-offs and think they're not recording you. They need to have dirt on you so that if you try anything, they pull up the... Because I was wondering how he got the footage of Stevie, but now it all makes sense. This is like R. Kelly was very infamous for also recording and keeping the memorabilia. A lot of perverts or murderers or, you know, criminals that are like dangerous and heinous, they do this. They keep the memorabilia. Okay, they need something from their victims, and this is very much that. R. Kelly was doing it, taking pictures, taking videos, storing it. He has videotapes, footage, the hard drives, and all kinds, and this is no different. Photo evidence, video evidence of stuff so that he can later use it against you. Obviously, if everybody is involved with it, they can't turn on you because then you're just gonna be like, got you there. Okay, so that's pretty much what Diddy's doing. But if these people don't realize that Diddy has hidden cameras in the damn house and they participating in the freak-offs, because why would Diddy have these cameras in his house? That means he's also recording himself, but he probably likes to watch the footage back. And I'm pretty sure Cassandra said that very thing too, that he forced her to watch certain footage. I'm not surprised by none of this. But if that's how he obtained the video of Stevie J doing the freak-off with some Caucasian man, this all makes so much sense. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs employees Jose Cruz as his IT director This writer has spoken to several former employees of Mr. Combs who confirmed that Jose Cruz is the gatekeeper to all of Mr. Combs' recordings. Upon information and belief, Jose Cruz intentionally hides behind the camera and from social media and the internet due to all of the incriminating acts he was required to record for Mr. Combs. So he also has a screenshot of the person's contact. It says Jose, Puff's tech guy, Cali, and the number is obviously redacted in the actual court documents. So pretty much once you get to the page that I just read, I think everything else ends up being reiterated in the documents. So I'm not going to read the rest of it, but oh my God, I'm exhausted. I can't believe it. I can, but at the same time I can't, because it's just like, are you serious? Like, this is way too much for me. Like, honestly, when I realized what the footnotes were saying, and it's like, Meek Mill, child, and I don't know what to make of all of this, and I'm sure you guys don't either. I'm sure you guys' mouths were on the ground. I'm interested to see how this plays out. This is something, again, just like Cassie, I didn't want the situation with Cassie to end the way it did. I wanted it to go to trial, but Diddy cleared that thing up so fast, cut the check so fast, like it was too much. And so I don't know what grounds that this person is opening this lawsuit under. This is all recent, so it's not like a lot of time had passed. Like with Cassie, a lot of time had passed, so she had to file it under that situation because of the statute, right? But this is not something where the statute of limitations has passed. This is all recent, within the last 2 years. So this is a completely different ball game. This is not going to be like it was with Cassie. Even if he tries to settle this thing, he looked crazy. The same way he settled it with Cassie and looked crazy, he's going to look crazy if he settles it with Rodney, because what the hell? And to me, I don't care what nobody says, a settlement is an admission of guilt, period. Because at the end of the day, if I know I didn't do it, I'm not settling. Take me to trial so I can prove my damn innocence. And obviously we know sometimes trial go left, child, and innocent people are getting locked up every day. But this right here, video recording footage, you can't deny it. You better get your ducks in order, child, because y'all going down and yelling timber. Yelling timber, because what's going on? I'm really beside myself about this whole entire thing. But yeah, tell me what you guys are thinking about this in the comment section below. Do you guys agree that it is incestuous as hell? I'm concerned as well for like Diddy's girl children, his daughters. I can't imagine how hard all this stuff must be hitting their kids, especially with their mom passing and stuff, and like having to see their dad and their brothers now in the media and being sued for this kind of stuff. And they're not stupid, they're not slow. Obviously, family is family. You know, they're gonna try to stick beside their family, but this might be the time to distance themselves, daddy or not, okay? Because it's not looking too good. The allegations are just insane, and you know, you never want to hear about stuff like this. You really don't, because it's just like, it's sick, it's twisted, it's problematic. This is not how we were supposed to do Black History Month, let me just say. We was not supposed to do Black History Month this way. Child, this is not what we meant by Black History. This was not what we wanted to make it into the books. Okay? Young Miami, if she was wise, she would have already distanced herself from Diddy. I hope that everybody gets their just due, from the littlest person to the biggest person, okay? What is done in the dark is gonna come to light always. I mean, play with God if you want to, but it's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be pretty. Oh my gosh. Anyway, guys, I love you all so much, and I will definitely see you in the next one.